Hi everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be going through again my September wrap up and then my October TBR at the end of the video. And this month I have read no books that I rated under 4 stars. So all of the books that I read are 4 stars and above. So I had a really good reading month this month. I read quite a few thrillers, a couple romances, a couple just like general kind of fiction books, and I listened to a couple of really good audiobooks as well. So yeah, I've just had a really good reading month. Probably the best reading month that I've had in a while, not in terms of quantity, although I did actually read quite a few books, but more like the quality as well. So let's get into the video. I started off the month by listening to a book called Cat Lady by Dawn O'Porter, and I rated this 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy this book, and it's just about a woman who has a cat and she absolutely adores her cat. And the reason that I wanted to listen to this is because I have 2 cats and I adore my cats, and there's a book called Cat Lady. I was like, well, I'm listening to that. That is written for me. Yeah, this woman, she's obsessed with her cat and she lives with her partner, and stuff ends up happening. That all falls apart pretty much, and her life just starts falling apart. She loses her job, just everything in her life starts falling apart, and all she has is her cat. That is all she has to keep her going, and it's just sort of her life going through that and how she puts her life together. And she realizes that she doesn't want to be living with somebody. She is very happy with just her and her cat. So I did really enjoy this. So I gave it 4.5 stars, and I didn't think I would enjoy this like that much, but I really did enjoy it. So I recommend it if you love cats, and if you have a cat and you adore your cat, yeah, definitely give this book a go. I then did a blind date with a book challenge, and I ended up getting this book, which is called Lovestruck by Laura Jane Williams, and I think this is actually a 2023 release. It was released at the beginning of the year, as far as I'm aware. I will link the video in the description below so that you can check out my like full thoughts, and I did a full like reading vlog on this book, and I did really enjoy this. So it's basically about a girl called Becca, and randomly she gets a text from one of her ex-boyfriends, and then it follows through. The book alternates between 2 scenarios. The one scenario is if she did text her ex-boyfriend back, and then the other scenario is if she didn't text her ex-boyfriend back, and she goes to this like mingling like single people thing, and she meets this guy there. So it's kind of like going through the 2 scenarios back and forth, and I did fully enjoy this. I think the only thing that I didn't enjoy about this was the fact that it did sometimes, the 2 different alternate realities did get a little bit confusing between the 2 of them at times, but I could look past that. Yeah, it's not too hard to keep up with, so I did really enjoy this, and it's a really nice floppy book. So it's very rare in the UK that we get really nice floppy books like this, so that was quite nice. But yeah, I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I then also read Heartless by Elsie, and this is the 2nd book in the Chestnut Springs series, which is like a small town cowboy kind of romance set on like a ranch. Oh, hello Loki. And this follows Cade and Willa. Ooh. And Willa is the best friend of the girl Summer from the 1st book, and Cade is one of the brothers who lives on the ranch. And Cade is a single dad, and Willa ends up nannying over the summer for his son, and his son is so adorable, and seeing Willa and his son bond together was really cute, and this was just really enjoyable. I enjoyed this more than the 1st book. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and I definitely recommend this series. It's just really easy to read and get through, and they're just really good. I also listened to via audiobook Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm slowly working my way through the audiobooks for Harry Potter. I read these books years and years ago, but I just kind of wanted to revisit them really, and then rewatch all the films. So it's a kind of perfect time of year to do that, because it's like when autumn comes around, it's kind of like, you know, Harry Potter is a good vibe this time of year. And I gave this one 4 stars. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is not my favourite of the series. I think it's my least favourite in the series, but I still really enjoyed it. So yeah, 4 stars for that one. I also read on my Kindle The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which is the 1st book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. Is that how you pronounce it? I have no idea, but yeah, it's the 1st book in that series. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so I read it on my Kindle. Been wanting to read like this book for a while, and I was in a fantasy mood at the time, so I picked this one up. And basically this book, I would say, is kind of Hunger Games but make it vampires. The main female character is a human, but she takes part in these trials which are held by the goddess of death, I think. And yeah, if she completes all the trials, I think there's 5 trials in total. If she wins, well, you have to basically survive to win. There's one person surviving at the end, and if she survives till the end, then she gets a wish granted by the goddess. But on the way, she ends up meeting a guy called Rain, I think he was called, but I didn't actually know how to pronounce it. But anyway, she meets a guy. They kind of end up being allies, but then they actually grow to like each other in the end. So it's like enemies to lovers, but then also because they're doing these trials, in the end they're gonna have to kill each other. So that was quite interesting, and there was a couple of really good plot twists at the end, so I definitely recommend this, and I gave it 4 stars. I then read 2 thrillers, which I don't have with me, but I do own them. It's just my mum was borrowing them, so she's reading them at the moment, which was The Family Upstairs, and then the second book, The Family Remains by Jewell. And these I really, really enjoyed. I flew through these really quickly, I couldn't put them down. The first book I gave 4.5 stars, and the second book I gave 4 stars. These books follow the perspectives of a few different characters, and they all kind of link together at the end. So basically, years ago there was a family where the parents thought to kill themselves, and left in the house was this baby, but the baby looked like it had been cared for a while, like since the parents had been died. It was in a fresh nappy and everything. The police and detectives never fully found out what happened, and then years later the baby who was found in that house, she's now 25 and she inherits this massive house. So it kind of just goes through that, and then they kind of uncover what happened back then. And yeah, it was just really, really good, really gripping, and they were just really easy to get through. Jewell's thrillers are usually pretty good, and I definitely enjoyed these if you're looking for a good kind of mystery-based thriller book. I then read Blood Orange by Harriet Tyce, and this I did really enjoy as well. Gave this 4 out of 5 stars. So I was just on a roll with thrillers at the moment, and this one was I had no idea what this was about going into it, so I kind of went into it really blindly. And it's just about a woman who her marriage is falling apart. Her husband's really controlling and horrible, and she's also like a lawyer defending a murder case for the first time as well. So you're kind of going through the murder case that she's defending at the same time as her dealing with her husband and things that happen with that. So that's the basic kind of idea of it without giving too much away, and I do recommend this one as well. This one was only a really, really short read. I think it was like just over 300 pages, so it's really short, really quick, and I recommend this one as well if you're looking for something kind of like a domestic thriller kind of thing. And I also finally got around to reading Carrie Soto is Back by Jenkins Reid, and I love Jenkins Reid. She's an amazing author. I feel like she could write literally anything and I would love it. And this, I never would have thought I would have enjoyed this, because this book is about tennis. It's about this tennis player called Carrie Soto, and she was like the best tennis player back in the day, and then she ended up retiring, and then she realizes that some other girl is about to beat her world record, so she wants to go and take it back. So she comes back and tries to beat her record again and claim the record back for herself. And she is not necessarily a very likable character, but there is a lot of character growth and development within this book. And her relationship with her father is really, really nice. He's so supportive, and he's supported her since a young age. He was a really nice character, and I just love the relationship between the two. So I actually listened to this via audiobook at the same time as reading it physically, and I think that was definitely a great choice, because the audiobook had lots of different narrators there was like some mixed media aspects, so like there was some TV show kind of things and like interviews and stuff that go on as well. So I had like different actors doing the voices for that, which I think just kind of brings it all to life, and I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend anything by Jenkins Reid. There's like a hint of romance in here as well, but not really. It mostly just focuses on Carrie's journey and her character development and her determination to kind of take her record back. So I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars, and I definitely recommend this. Then finally, I also listened to another audiobook, which I again finished last night, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. It's Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, and this was so good. I honestly didn't think I was going to enjoy this as much as I did, and when I first started listening to it, I was kind of like, I don't like this main character. She's very rude and abrupt, and she's not very likable. But then as the book goes on, you realise why she's like that, and she's gone through so much trauma in her past, and she's got no friends, she's got no one, she's just all alone, and she's been doing the same job for so long. She's literally not fine at all. It goes through her journey of her like overcoming her past and accepting what happened in her past and moving on from that. But she ends up being a really, really likable character, and the book was quite funny at times, but not in like a laugh out loud kind of way. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just so good. I definitely recommend this if you're looking for something that's really heartwarming, but also very deep and emotional at the same time. And the narrator for the audiobook of this did a really good job as well. So yeah, I ended up giving that 4.5 stars. So that is all the books that I read this month, and they were all 4 stars and above, so I had a brilliant reading month. But there was also 3 books that I did DNF this month. So I also ended up reading You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus, and I really liked One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next by her, and so I thought, okay, I'll read this one. I really like the Purple Spray Lenses, it's quite cool. It's just like a YA mystery, murder mystery kind of thing, but I didn't like any of the characters and I just found it really boring and I didn't care. I think I literally got about 80% of the way through and then I gave up and I was just like, you know what, I don't even care who was the murderer, I don't care about anything. So I DNF'd it and didn't finish this, unfortunately, but it just wasn't for me. And then I also continued on with the Red Queen series, which is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, and I just couldn't put myself through this. It was just, I didn't really understand what was going on. It was so much politics. I was just bored, to be honest. I just really didn't enjoy this book at all. I literally read probably about 20% of this book and then I just thought, I just can't do it. So I do have the whole series on my shelf. I have the other couple books that come after this one, but I just can't do it. I mean, if they get better, let me know if this series does get better, because I really did enjoy the first book, but going into this, I just didn't like the direction this went in, and I don't know, just had no idea what was going on, and I just couldn't put myself through that, so I gave up on that one. And a really disappointing read of this month was I started to read To Spark a Fey War by Sonia Odette, which is the third book in the Fair Isle trilogy by her, and I love her books. I absolutely love them, and I love the first book in this series. The second book was okay, and the third book I just couldn't finish. I just didn't care about anything that was going on or anything. So I read about half of it and then I was like, I just don't want to waste my time, so I gave up on it. But I do love this author and I love her books, but I just couldn't finish this series. I just didn't care about it anymore. So yeah, there was a couple DNFs this month, but sometimes you've just got to put a book down if you're not enjoying it. So, and then finally, I'm going to move on to my October TBR. So I've got 3 physical books and then the rest are all on my Kindle. So I'll just go through the physical books really quickly. I want to read Powerless by Elsie Silver, which is the third book in the Chestnut Springs series. So I just want to continue on with the series really, so that is the next one, so I want to read that. I also really want to get to Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, which is the third book in the Dark Artifice. Oh my god, I literally can't speak, what's going on? Which is the third book in the Dark Artifices series by her, and I've been putting off reading this book because look at the size of it. It's absolutely huge. It's just so big. And throughout summer I wasn't really in a fantasy mood, so I read the first 2 books in the series at the start of the year when it was in winter, and then over summer I wasn't really in a fantasy mood, but now it's coming to autumn, I really want to read more fantasy, so I really just want to get to this, but it's just so big, it's so intimidating, but I've loved every single one of Cassandra Clare's books that I've ever read, so I know I'm going to love it. But it's just the size of it, which is very intimidating. I don't know how many pages it is. It's like 850 pages, so it's a big one, but I want to get to it, and I know I will really enjoy this. And also, I really want to get to Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and I think it's a perfect time to read this in October because this is a very scary, spooky vampire book, like a proper horror book, and I really feel like it's the right time of year to read this. So I really want to get to this. I want to get into more Stephen King, and apparently this one's really one of his really good ones. It's one of his older books, but also this book, it doesn't look very thick, but the pages are super, super thin. So there is actually 750 pages in this. So I do have a couple of really big books to read this month, but I don't have too many plans for October, so I may have time, but we will see. And then on my Kindle, I would like to read the next 2 books in the Crowns of Nyaxos series, which I did read the first one this month, The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. I want to read the novella, which is called Six Scorched Roses. The second book in the series is called The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, so I want to read that as well. So they're both on Kindle Unlimited, so my mum's borrowing my Kindle at the moment, but when I get that back, I'm gonna hopefully start one of those and continue that series and get that series done and continue with it, because I did really enjoy the first one, so it'd be good to continue on with it while it's still all fresh in my mind. And then on my Kindle, I'd also really like to start the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because apparently these are just super easy to get through. They're like nice kind of mystery, YA mystery books, and I feel like they're usually really easy to get through, and loads of people on BookTube have been reading this series at the moment. It's just making me really want to read it. So I own the first 2 books on there, which I got for 99p each on Kindle a while back. So I've got the first 2 books, so I'm hoping to start that series, whether I just read 1 book or 2, it depends how much I enjoy the first one. But yeah, I would like to read that series because this time of year I like reading like fantasy and thrillers and mysteries, that kind of thing, more than romance, so I would love to read those this month as well. And also another book that's kind of good for this time of year is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and this is supposed to be a dark academia kind of murder mystery kind of book, and I don't know too much about it other than that. I just feel like that's kind of the time of year to read that as well. So that is my TBR. I just quickly went through that with you. So the books that I read this month, and the ones I DNF'd, and then my TBR. So I'm really excited about the books that I'm hoping to read in October, and I really hope I have another really good reading month like I did throughout September. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you had a great reading month in September as well, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. I upload a video every single Sunday, so I hope to see you next Sunday. Bye for now.